Is what's going to happen in terms of another financial aid package. We've got millions of Americans who are out of work. We've got businesses, small and large, that are in crisis at this point through no fault of their own. Will we see another financial package to aid them before Election Day?
Well, the president and I are working hard on a bipartisan proposal. I spoke to Speaker Pelosi several times over the weekend. We had a conversation for about an hour yesterday, going through different aspects of it, and I expect I will come back with her later this afternoon, and we'll deliver a response. So I think we'll have a very reasonable response, something that's very similar to what has been the bipartisan proposal that the Problem Solvers has worked on, and I hope we can get something done, because as you said, there are clearly still businesses out there, small businesses, that are impacted. We need more money for kids going to school. We need liability protection for small businesses to open the economy. And we're going to continue to work hard to try to get those results to the American people that are impacted.
Mr. Secretary, you're usually pretty even-keeled, and you are probably the person most in the administration who has reached across the aisle to try and have these conversations. Although I have gotten the sense lately that you've been a little frustrated, too. I just wonder, in those conversations with Speaker Pelosi, is it more or less contentious than the debate we saw last night?
Well, the Speaker and I have a relationship which it's all business. I think we're very effective in communicating with each other. In many cases, we do have things that we agree on, and we have things that there are differences. And we're trying to see if both of us can manage a package that gets some of what everybody wants.
Do you think that's likely? Because I have to say, at this point on Wall Street, most people have written off the idea that there will be any package that can be decided, at least not before the election.
Well, I'd say we're going to give it one more serious try to get this done, and I think we're hopeful that we can get something done. I think there's a reasonable compromise here. It's something that the president very much wants to get done and make sure that we help those parts of the economy that still need help. So we're going to try to see if we can get something passed.
Even if you do reach an agreement with Speaker Pelosi, you still have the Republicans in the Senate who have been pushing back, and who the demands that they've put forth, the things that they'd like to see, is a much skinnier package than I think the administration and the White House has kind of put forth. They're looking to spend less than $900 billion. How would you bring those Senate Republicans on board, and have you spoken to any of them?
Mark Meadows and I spoke to both Kevin and Mitch McConnell yesterday. We went through with them what our thoughts are, and let's see if we can get a compromise agreement with the Speaker, something that works, and then we'll continue to work with both sides to work on all the exact language and the policies.
Can you give us any idea of the scope of what is there in the middle ground? I mean, I think I can guess at some of these things. What's targeted, what seems to have bipartisan support, and I would throw out things like extending unemployment to some extent and raising that number, maybe extending some money for small businesses, potentially the airlines, making sure that this is targeted information. But can you give us any scope about the things that you've been discussing that you think are likely and that there is common ground?
Well, first, let me say all the issues that we worked with the Senate on the $1 trillion deal are in there. In many cases, we actually have an agreement between the Republicans and the Democrats on what we want to do. But in certain cases, the issue is really about the size and scope of how much we want to do. So there are certain policies where we do have differences, but there's a lot of commonality. Things like the PPP has enormous bipartisan support. Money for schools has enormous bipartisan support. We have additional direct payments, economic impact payments, which has support on both sides. We have back-to-work credits. We have retention credits. So I think there's many areas. You mentioned the airlines. We do support more money for the airlines. That's something that's critical to keep our airline workers together.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.